I don't know what parent need to hear this, but stop financially abusing your child.
And I feel like my entire life, it just has felt like this overwhelming sense of responsibility to like take care of them at some point.
I don't think parents realize how much black tax is killing their children.
Chances are you're the retirement plan. Rather than you going to them for help, they come to you for help.
See this? This is what nobody wants to talk about. Not on LinkedIn, not at brunch, definitely not in those how I saved 100K by 25 YouTube videos. Because while some people are out here flexing their six-figure savings, you're just trying to survive without your bank app giving you a heart attack. You ever open your bank account and whisper, "Please don't embarrass me today"? And it's like, boom, balance, $13.72. But you just sent your mom $150 for her medication and groceries? So yeah, technically you're broke, but morally, you're rich as hell. The truth is, a lot of Gen Z and millennials aren't just broke because of bad spending habits or too much avocado toast. We're broke because we're carrying two generations on our backs. The one before us and the future we're trying to build. And no one prepared us for that.
My parents did not like have an education. Like they literally quit school or like couldn't do school anymore after like third or fourth grade. Okay. And then they immigrated over to Canada when they were like 25, got a house, whatever, got married, and then had me. And I'm like the only thing they have, more or less. And they don't speak English well. They have a very low paying jobs. Like my mom works like a minimum wage job. My dad works like an okay paying job, but like it's like laborious. And obviously they're like getting old. And I feel like my entire life, it just has felt like this overwhelming sense of responsibility to like take care of them at some point. But I'm just like, I just feel like I'm in such a, I've tried so hard to like manage my own life on my own. But then I still feel this like insane burden, overwhelming burden of like having to take care of them. And
let's be real. Being broke is one thing, but being broke and feeling guilty about not doing enough for your parents, that's a whole different level of mental taxation. You're over here dodging overdraft fees while still trying to make sure your dad's blood pressure pills get delivered on time. And the moment you even think about saying no to a request, that little voice kicks in. They sacrificed everything for you. You can't say no to them now. And just like that, you're guilt-tripped into overdrafting your soul and your debit card.
When I get called, my mom literally just called me, which is why this got triggered. She just called me and she's like, "Oh, I was gonna go to a party, but then your dad's just like really upset and not home, so I feel like I can." And I get calls like this all the time. Like my mom wants to go on a trip, but she can't because my dad like gets scared of like spending money. And I understand that like you're like in an immigrant mind, like
it's even harder when you're from a culture where helping family isn't optional, it's expected. You're not just a son or daughter anymore. You're the emergency fund, the Uber, the tech support, and sometimes the therapist.
you just save, like you just don't do anything because you're like, what if the worst of the worst happens? Like you need to have savings. And it like hurts me to see my parents like stop themselves from like living their lives, and I've really tried to not have that impact how I live my life as well. But I feel like when I hear these things, it's like okay, well, I'm literally responsible. Like if they don't have a job, like it's up to me to help them out. And I'm like, I my job pays well for like one person, you know, like how am I supposed to support like my parents?
And sure, you love them. Of course you do. But loving someone doesn't mean you should have to destroy yourself financially to prove it. So yeah, between guilt obligation and cultural pressure, you're basically stuck in a loyalty loop. But let's take the emotion out of it for a second and just run the numbers. Because if love could pay rent, you'd be rich. But in this economy, it's time we do the math. All right. So you're working a full-time job, right? Median Gen Z income, somewhere between 40 and 50K a year. Sounds manageable until you actually look at where the money's going. Let's break it down. Rent, $1,200 to $2,000 a month. Groceries for you and your parents, $600. Utilities, meds, transport, a couple emergencies, boom. You're already past $3,200 a month. That's over 75% of your income gone. And let's not forget the bonus charges. Emotional labor, unlimited. Sleep, declined. Therapy, only if you find the time and the copay. Meanwhile, inflation's rising, interest rates are petty, and the job market out here is basically giving us Hunger Games with Indeed login. So when people say just save 10% of your income, you're like, 10% of what? Hope? The truth is, a lot of us aren't living above our means. We're living below the cost of existing.
I don't know what parent need to hear this, but stop financially abusing your child. I don't know what it is about the first job that we get as kids or young adults, and now all of a sudden you need to pay the light bill, the cable bill, the phone bill, you need to contribute to this Con Ed. Like, whoa, this is my first job, please relax.
Okay, so Shorty's not even talking about herself. She's calling out a whole trend, and honestly, she's not wrong. And there's a wild number of young people right now who are, working two jobs, dodging overdrafts, and still getting hit with, can you pay for my phone bill? What about the water bill? Your little brother needs Wi-Fi for school. And if they say no, suddenly they're the villain in the family saga.
Phone companies, cable companies, whatever the case may be, any type of subscription or place that requires a monthly payment for a service or some type of product, y'all need to come up with a solution for people who are being financially abused by their parents. Optimum needs something. T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever, y'all need something, because there's no way that someone that I know is paying the cable bill, like this person is going to their mom and giving them upwards of $100 to $200 towards the bill, and instead of using the money that was given to them at the time to pay the bill, they're using the money for other things, and then coming back to this person asking for more money as if they didn't give them the money in the first place.
Like, how did we get here? When did raising a kid turn into raising a backup bank account? What she's really calling out is something a lot of people deal with but are too scared to name. Financial guilt tripping disguised as love. And don't get me wrong, taking care of family can be beautiful, but not when it's based on fear, shame, or obligation.
And it's just financial abuse, and it's cyclical. It just keeps going and it keeps going. Yeah, y'all need to come up with something to help those people in that situation. And my whole thing is like, y'all talk about, oh, well, you're not an authorized user, or you're not an authorized account holder, whatever the case may be, right? If you go in the transaction payment history and my card information is there, I don't give a damn if I'm not the authorized account holder or an authorized user. Do something. Take the middleman out. If you want to keep getting my money, because it's my money, I can prove that it's my money. So y'all need to come up with something. Like, if there was a service or a product that I could invent or like create a company, it would be for those who are being financially abused and in toxic relationships with their parents, because this is crazy.
Whew, that one hit a little too close, huh? Look, we're not saying don't help your parents. We're not saying cut them off and move to Bali. We're saying there's a better way to support them without going broke and bitter, burnt out. Because it's not selfish to save for yourself. It's strategic. And the truth is, when you're stable, everyone around you benefits too. All right, so now that we've dragged the elephant into the room and given it a name tag, let's talk about what you can do. Because helping your family shouldn't feel like you're drowning in quicksand, and survival should not be the reward for being a good child. Step 1, boundaries. I know the word sounds like you just cussed in 5 different languages, but hear me out. Setting financial boundaries isn't rebellion, it's responsibility. If you can only afford to help with $50 a month, say that. If you need to pause helping for 3 months while you catch up on rent, say that. If your name is not Chase, Wells, or Fargo, then stop letting people treat you like a bank. Step 2, transparency. Sometimes our parents don't even know how hard it is for us. They're used to the silent struggle. But silent struggle builds resentment, not legacy. Try saying, I want to help, but I'm also trying to build something for myself too. That conversation might be awkward, but it's a whole lot cheaper than bankruptcy. Step 3, find community. You're not the only one carrying this weight. You'd be shocked how many people are low-key the provider in their family while pretending everything's fine. Whether it's a group chat, a subreddit, or your therapist, don't do this in isolation. You're not weak for needing support. You're human. And finally, let go of the guilt. Wanting a life of your own doesn't make you a bad child. It makes you a whole person. You can't pour from an empty wallet or an empty soul. So here's the truth nobody claps for. Sometimes being the strong one means you end up with nothing left for yourself. You're showing up, you're giving, you're grinding, but at some point, you have to ask, at what cost? The goal was never just survival. The goal is freedom, peace, options, not waking up in a panic every time your phone buzzes because it might be another request. And if no one's told you this yet, you deserve a life that's more than just patching everyone else's sinking ship. Helping your family is honorable, but burning out in silence, that's not noble, that's dangerous. You are allowed to build your own future, even if it takes time, even if not everyone understands it, even if you have to say, not right now, to people you love. Because one day, you won't just be surviving their emergencies, you'll be creating generational stability that doesn't guilt trip the next generation. So stay kind, stay grounded, but also stay smart, because being broke for a good cause is still being broke. And you were built for more than struggle.